Welcome to the part 2 of the Bloomburrow set review. We're looking at blue cards now. Alright, we'll start with Azure Beastbinder. It's a 1 generic and a blue creature rat rogue vigilance. Azure Beastbinder can't be blocked by creature with power 2 or greater. Whenever Azure Beastbinder attacks, up to 1 target artifact, creature, or planeswalker the opponent control loses all abilities until your next. It's a creature, it also has base power and toughness 2/2 until your next turn. It's a 1/3. So the cool part about this is that, you know, because of the text, it means they would need to block with 3 1-power creatures or use like a 1-power, I guess a 1/1 Death Touch or a 1/1 and then or a 1-power creature and they block and then use combat trick to get rid of it. So it can be really annoying for them to get rid of it otherwise. So it actually makes either Isaiah, but it makes combat kind of annoying. Like I've seen it attack like before, like attacking before, because you can like attack with it and then clear the way for like your flying creatures by removing flying or reach from like their blocker. Like say your opponent has like a 5/5 reach or something like that, you can attack with this Beastbinder, and they won't be able to block it with their 5/5 because it's the text on it, and then it lets your flying creatures attack in. I think that's good. So I put it down as a B, just because of that or whatever. And you can also target like an artifact or a planeswalker, I guess. Like maybe maybe you can't actually kill like their planeswalker, but you can just, you know, attack and then they block with like their 1/3 or whatever, but then at least they don't get to use walker on their turn. They don't get to use it. Thing. Bellowing Crier, 1 generic and a blue. Creature Frog Advisor. When Bellowing Crier enters, draw a card and the card is 2/1. So the theme of like frogs is like they have a bunch of ETBs, and I mean this is a fine ETB. It's, you know, it's a 2-mana 2/1. That's not a great stat line, but you'll probably play it. I just put it as a C-, curve filler. You'll play it, you know, and then if you have the thing where you are bouncing it or exiling it and then bringing it back to play, better. But Calamitous Tide, 4 generic and 2 blue sorcery. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Draw 2 cards and then discard a card. I mean, 6 mana is a lot for like an undo type effect. I mean, that's, you know, they don't print like undo anymore, but it's like undo was like 3 mana sorcery. You do this. This does come with like a catalog. You have to draw 2 and then discard a card, but I don't know how like exciting this is. Also because like a lot of the creatures look cheap, so you're not gaining like a ton of tempo. I guess you bounce 2 of their tokens with it, but again, the tokens aren't like, they're not like the expensive kind of tokens like from Strixhaven. They're the cheap ones. So I put it down as a D+. I don't know, like maybe if you just really need like the interact. I guess again you could also just use it as like a finisher to like bounce their 2 blockers. But I don't know, it's just a lot of mana effect. Daring Wave Rider, 4 generic and 2 blue. Creature Otter Wizard. When Daring Wave Rider enters, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana. Well, that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So they basically just made Goblin Dark Dweller. It's not a rare, like, I'm sorry, Goblin Dark Dweller. This one, it's a mana value 3 or less. This one's like 4 or less, but costs 6 mana. It doesn't have like any other ability on it. It's fine. It's a C plus. Like it just gets to replay your guy. It's pretty big. I mean, it's like a 4/4, and then you get to play your spell. It's cool. There's a lot of fathers care about spells in the set, or instant and sorcery spells in this set. Um, Dazzling Denial, 1 generic and a blue instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. If you control bird, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. Well, I mean, Quench is not really like I put it as a C. I mean, Quench is not really like exciting if you are like in the blue white bird archetype. Then it gets more exciting because like making the opponent pay 4 is going to be like a hard counter for like a lot of the game, at least, you know. Eventually they will be able to pay 4, but aware of. Alright, Dire Downdraft, 3 in a blue instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if a target is attacking or tapped creature. Target creature's owner puts it on top or the bottom of the library. This kind of is sort of reminds me of like Barry in books, but Barry in books had the distinction that it put the creature away for longer, and also Barry in books was in a format that had like big tokens, so like just 3 mana kill like an 8/8 token was kind of like a big deal. Like this one is like, yeah, like this is cheaper if it's targeting something that it doesn't get the discount on. It's like 4 versus 5, right? But it does only put it away for 1 turn, and there's like a fair number of ETBs also, which are kind of bad to like let them reuse it again, even if they have to wait a turn. And this does also trigger the whole leaving the battlefield without dying mechanic in the set, so that can also be like a downside to playing this card. So I put it as a C, but it might actually play out more like a C minus. Remember, like fleeting motes. Sort of reminds me a lot of like misleading motes in that head, because all the adventures in that set. Dour Port Mage, 1 generic in the blue. Creature Frog Wizard. This is what I was talking about. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control leave the battlefield while dying, draw a card. And then 1 in a blue, tap. Return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. 3. So, I mean, this is like a very unassuming card. Like, it's going to be pretty bad if you don't have any synergies. It does sort of like force them to kill it first. Like they have to use their removal on your 1/3, because if they don't, you just bounce the other creature. I guess they could also wait until you're tapped out of mana, but if you just always have like the 2 mana open and tap this, then they basically on your Port Mage first. So I put it as a B minus, just because again, like the threat of activation and like the synergy. Like, this is a pretty good enabler for the mechanic. So Eddie Crab, 5 and 2 blue, creature elemental crab, flash. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Any Crab enters tap is not your turn. When Eddie Crab enters, tap up to 2 target creatures. I mean, this is like this feels like Tolarian Terror kinda. It's not quite the same card. Tolarian Terror had Ward 2. This has Flash. It can't actually eat anything, like, and that is like a good distinction to make, that the fact that this enters tap is not your turn. You actually want to block with it. You need to like play it on your turn if you're planning on blocking with it, because otherwise it's gonna be tapped. I mean, you could also just use this to flash it in to stop two attackers. That's also a possibility, like maybe flyers or something. Flash this in on your opponent's begin combat to like tap both their flyers. Um, yep. I mean, I like it. C plus. It is a little, again, also a little different because Florian Terra is single. It's got a lot of flexibility in here, like no Ward 2, but the fact that you could like this to stop attackers or just tap blockers to tap some blockers out of the way. Anything. Alright, Eluge, the Shoreless Sea, 1 generic triple blue, legendary creature elemental fish. Eluge's power and toughness are each equal to the number of islands you control. Whenever Eluge enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types for as long as it has a flood counter on it. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 1 blue or 1 generic, less to cast for each land you control a flood counter on it. So when I was doing my review, I'm just saying this is like feels like a lot of work for what it does. It doesn't let you mana screw people because it's an island in addition to its other types. You're supposed to target your own lands, like maybe have non-island lands. But the fact that it's like triple blue is like kind of a turn on because you're gonna need like a lot of islands in the first place to cast it. And then I mean it does make instants and sorceries cheaper, but I think this is more of like an H card, and you should probably just avoid this. I put it down as like a D plus. Like maybe somebody will play it and it's gonna be really, but I don't know. I just think there's way too much you have to like do to, like make this scary. Finch formation, 2 generic and a blue, creature, bird, scout, offspring 3. You may pay an additional 3 as you cast a spell. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it flying. When this creature enters, target creature you control gains flying until a turn. So it's Windrake with a temporary flying buff. You might get like some damage in doing that. Offspring, basically, it becomes like a 6 mana 3/3 worth of flyer with double jump. I don't know. Maybe that's good. I'm just gonna put it out of the C because I don't know. It's like I think it's fine, but it's not like really exciting. I don't know. Exciting. Or Gossip's Talent, 1 generic in a blue enchantment class. Whenever a creature you control enters Surveil 1 generic and 1 blue level 2. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. And then 3 generic blue level 3. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may exile it and then returns to the battlefield. Cool. I put out a C minus. C plus. That's what it was. I guess like the rat deck is interested in surveilling and filling the graveyard, and like a little bit of evasion for your small creature isn't bad, and then getting the reuse in ETB is like good in the frog deck. But I mean there might be some other ETB like such. So I don't know. It's not like a great card. Like I think just like the individual abilities. It's like, oh okay, I could kind of see something. Okay, into the Floodmaw blue. Instant gift a tapped fish. Return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So this is like unsummoned that only works on your. It's unsummoned that only works on your opponent's creatures. And then if you promise them the fish, you can use a disperse, but I don't. I've been looking into it. I don't know like how many non-land permanents you would care about like bouncing it like that aren't like creatures. I mean, I guess you could bounce like their equipment in the middle of combat to make one of your blocks really good, or make their block really bad. Like you bounce their equipment away. That I don't know. I don't think like unsummon, like the reason unsummon is usually good is because you can use it in like multiple ways. This only works on your opponent's stuff. So yeah, I'm just not sold on it. I had it as a C minus. So here we go. We have Kidnap, which is 2 and a blue enchantment aura. Gift a card. Enchant creature. When Kidnap enters, tap enchanted creature. If the gift wasn't promised, put 3 stun counters on it, and then you control enchanted. So I this this is mind control, but it's like it's fairer than usually what you see from like mind control or whatever, because um like if you want to be able to like use the creature sooner, you have to give them the card. So it's like it's not like a straight up 2-for-1 in that case. In some cases, there might be like situations you're fine just stealing the creature and putting stun counters on it because maybe you didn't want to like attack with the creature anyways. It's just a creature that has like a good static or activated ability, and then it's like it's fine. Like if it's stunned, you don't care about it. You just don't want to get hard. So I put it as a B. Right, Kitsa, Auto Ball, Elite, 1 generic blue, legendary creature, Auto Wizard, Vigilance, Prowess. Draw a card, then discard a card. Tap, draw a card, discard a card. And then 2 generic, tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new target for the copy. Activate only if Kitsa's power is 3 or greater. 3. Um, I mean, a 1/3 vigilance prowess. It's not like in looter, and it does like a lot of things. And I mean, logically, there might be like some scenario where you're like, okay, I cast 2 instants, and then I copy the second one because Kitsa became a 3-power creature after you double prowess or whatever. That's cool. Like I put it down as a B. Just a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, I think you should just treat it mostly as like a vigilance power looter, and if you do the copy the instant or sorcery, then you're happy. But it only copies instant sources you control. But I mean, still, you should get that to work. Okay. So Night Fisher, 3 generic, 2 blue creature, bird knight flying. Whenever a non-token bird you control enters, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. 4/5. So this card seems like kind of unassuming, but I actually think it's like kind of good because of the whole flying, non-flying creature thing, whatever. So they're actually going to like because you need to get like a balance of like flying and non-flying creatures for you to keep doing like the synergy. It's also just like a really large flyer because 4/5. Like a lot of this, like as we saw earlier, a lot of the creatures are just like kind of small, and this is probably just going to like be the biggest thing on the board. So I put it down as like a B minus. Um, just because of that, like the whole fact that again, this give you like more non-flying creatures to do your thing with. So Light Shell Duo, 3 generic and a blue creature rat other prowess. When Light Shell Duo enters Surveil 2, it's a 3/4. I mean, a 3/4 prowess seems like strong. I mean, Surveil 2 is kinda like like I was saying earlier, it's like kind of like 75% of a card. Um, it's just like a really large prowess creature. They might not want to block it. Like if you are really deep into the whole prowess thing, so put it as a C. Long River Lurker, 2 generic and a blue. Creature Frog Scout, Ward 1. Other frogs you control have Ward 1. When Long River Lurker enters, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature enters combat damage, or deals combat damage, when you may exile it. If you do return to the battlefield, it's okay. Again, this is like the whole frog exiling or leaving the battlefield to dying kind of thing and reusing ETB. It also gives like protection, like a little bit of protection your other frogs because of the Ward 1. Yeah, I put it out as a C plus. Um, I mean, it could be better because again, like this, the whole target creature control can't be blocked this turn might just be like, oh, it dealt lethal or whatever. But it's like better than it. It also still just leaves like a 2/3 behind, like even if like the damage isn't lethal. Long River's Pull, 2 blue, instant gift a card, counter target creature spell. If the gift was promised instead, counter target spell. Um, I don't like this card because it's double blue. I put it as a D plus. I mean, it's double blue and it only counters target creature spell. If you, I mean, you could give them the gift, but then um to counter like any spell, but then you're actually like it's like card disadvantage at that point because I don't know, like you have to really like you have to be like a really important like non-creature spell for you wanted to like to gift it there, but I don't know. I just don't like the fact that it's like the double blue or annoying. I mean, I guess you can say like, oh, but cancel is double blue, but I don't know, cancel is like different because it actually also I don't know. I think it's just a different card than cancel. And cancel is also not really a card you're like excited to play. Ways. I digress. Right, Mind Spiral, 4 and a blue sorcery. Gift a tap fish. Target player draws 3 cards. If the gift was promised, tap target creature opponent control and put a stun counter on. Like, hmm. Yeah, this is like weird. You can draw off of it, and I mean, like 5 mana draw 3 is not is like pretty standard, right? And then I guess you have like the option to give them a 1/1. I guess this could force some damage through, like if you tap like their biggest creature and then lets you attack with some other thing. I mean, you're giving them a tapped fish that like next like when if they do untap like next turn, they will be able to block with it or attack you with it. I don't know, just I just had a C. Again, it's not super exciting. Okay, Mind Whisker, 2 generic in the blue. Creature Rat Wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Threshold. As long as 7 or more cards in graveyard, creatures in your opponent's control get 1/-0. Well, this card could actually just be like really annoying versus some decks because I mean the stat line is not very good because it's like 3 mana 3/2, but like the surveil 1 fuels the threshold, and then the threshold is basically Cumberstone on a 3/2, which actually does can change combat a lot. Like just having it's really devastating versus like say the white deck or whatever, because the white deck's gonna have like a lot of 1 power token, all like 0 power. So I put it a C plus. Mockingbird, it is a X generic blue creature bird bard. Bird bard. Say that fast. Flying, you may have Mockingbird enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the mana spent to cast Mockingbird. except it is a bird in addition to its other types and has flying. So, it's like a little bit of a downside. I mean, like usually with like clones, like the cool part is that you get to like save money on it. Not save money, but save mana on it. This could, I mean, there may be like situations where they play like a 2-drop and you get to copy it for 2 mana. That's something to note, is that like it doesn't say it has to cost X, it just has to cost mana equal to the thing. Whatever. So it's like, yeah, I misunderstood this at first, but like, so you can spend 2 mana to copy like their 2-drop. But it also has flying, so it's like there might be like some situations where you copy, the first like lifelink guy and then give it flying, and that's pretty cool. So I mean, it's pretty flexible. I put it down as like a B minus just because of flexibility. Like, it's definitely better than like those clones that only let you copy stuff. Like, all right, Night Whirl Hermit, 2 generic in the blue, creature Rat Rogue, Vigilance threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Night Whirl Hermit gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. The 1/4. So I don't know. I'm putting it as a D plus. It just feels a lot like the Flick Shot Vault Buster is different because threshold mean it's different because it's going to be a 2/4 unblockable, not just like a 3/4 that for 1 turn or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not like super excited about it. I mean, I guess it depends on like how easily you can get threshold. Like, if you get threshold really quickly, then yeah, the 2/4 unblockable that can also block because of vigilance. But I don't know. I'm just gonna say it's a D plus for now. Otherball Antics, 1 generic and a blue sorcery. Create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. If this spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Flashback 3 and a blue. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost and exile. So, this is definitely, I think, the type of card that you'll want to like surveil it into the graveyard and pay it for the flashback. I mean, I guess if you're in a very spell heavy blue red, whether a spell deck or a non-creature spell deck, then you're fine with just playing it from the hand because it is like a 2 mana sorcery on the front side, and then you're happy about it. But I put it out as a C. Just, I don't know. The stats on it seem kind of like little, like the creatures you get is because either it's a 2 mana 1/1 prowess or a 4 mana 2/2 prowess. I guess the 2/2 didn't cost you a card, but and still I'm not super excited about that. Pearls of Wisdom, or Pearl of Wisdom, 2 generic and a blue sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control an otter. Draw 2 cards. But as a C, and I mean, we had like C's, the secrets, or in the previous set. I mean, this isn't exactly C's. I guess on one mind it might be like a closer. I think there was like a fly, like a spell, or maybe it was like winged words or something. Winged words. No. Yeah, winged words, which was like divination, but it costs 1 less if you control a creature flying. This one costs 1 less to cast if you control other. Not super excited about it. Right, Plume Creed, Escort, 1 generic and a blue, creature, bird, scout, flash flying. When Plume Creed Escort enters, target creature you control gains hexproof until end turn. 1. I mean, this is it's protects one of your creatures. It's also not like bad. It's like, I mean, a 2/1 flyer for 2 is still like reasonably good. You know, I forgot like the Saiba Cryptomancer. Well, that one also put a 1/1 counter on a guy, but this is a little different because it's like this is a different card. But it's like a protection thing that leaves a creature behind, and it'll be like annoying to play against early, for sure. And it's also a bird. I mean, it's like bird typing or whatever. I'll put it as a B minus, just because like I think early on this is a lot of people, but. Born in the Calamity X generic and blue sorcery. Reveal the top X cards of your library. For each card type, you may exile a card of that type from among them. Put the rest in your graveyard. You may cast a spell from among the exile cards while paying the mana cost if you exile 4 more cards this way. And put the rest of the exiled cards in your hand. What is C plus? I don't know. It's like it's not just like a straight up draw X because you are going to need to like have cards of different types. You know what I mean? Because you can only get like I think the idea is like okay, I get a creature, an instant, and a sorcery or something. I mean, I think most of the time you're going to be casting it for 4, so that you can get like the free spell, and then in a way it becomes sort of like make your own luck from OTJ, but I don't know. I think it has like a lot. It's like I have to see it in action, but I'm gonna put it as C plus for now. And Runaway Together. This is a one generic blue instant. It's a reprint, but yeah. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to the owner's hand. So this triggers your leaves the battlefield without dying thing. It lets you, you know, your ETBs save a creature from removal. You know, you can. I guess a lot. Like, there's gonna be a lot of different scenarios with this card. It's like, okay, I bounce my creature to save it from a removal spell, and then um bounce my opponent's token into non-existence, or bounce my opponent's creature that they pumped it with a combat trick, and then they bounce my creature that has like an ETB, or you know, a relatively cheap creature I don't mind playing. But that was a C. There's probably gonna be some situations where like you won't be able to cast it. Like maybe you're the only person as a creature, or your opponent's the only person with a creature. That'll be a little sad, but Season of Weaving, 4 generic, 2 blue sorcery. Choose up to 5 paw worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. And 1 paw, draw a card. 2 paw, choose an artifact or creature you control. Create a token that's a copy of it. And then 3 paw, return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand. So like I think the variability on this card is gonna be based on I guess the power of the artifacts or creatures you control at the time, or how good they are, and then like, you'll cast like mode 3 when your opponent doesn't have a lot of non-token permanents. Maybe you have a very token heavy deck and their deck is like just all um, non-tokens, so you bounce all their non-tokens, but you get to keep your tokens in play. I don't know. There's a lot of variability in the card. I think it's worse than the white season because of that. And I think so. Let's see. I put it as a B minus here, but there's some flexibility. Yeah, you could just make 2 copies and draw a card, and it's also like feasible. Or I mean, there's gonna be some scenarios where you like make a copy, return each non-land, non-token permanent, and then you're the only thing. You have the only permanent non-land permanent play kind of thing. Great shore up. 1 blue instant. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gain X-proof until end turn. Untap it. C plus, just because the 1 mana protection spell. Shoreline Looter, 1 generic and a blue. Creature Rat Rogue. Shoreline Looter can be blocked threshold. Whenever Shoreline Looter deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then discard a card unless 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. 1/1. I have it as a C plus. I mean, it's kind of like Looter Ilcore or whatever, which I mean, you never like it was like unblockable, functionally unblockable this card, but then you also can't block with it. And you could block with it, but you don't really want to block with like your 1/1 that like loots and stuff. But I do like the fact that this can, enable threshold with like the looting, and then when you do hit the threshold, it's just like straight up draw. But there are some, issues with playing a 2 mana 1/1, like not being able to block with it and stuff could be an issue. Skyskipper Duo, 4 generic and a blue. Creature, bird, frog, flying. When Skyskipper Duo enters, exile up to 1 other target creature control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning. So yeah, the stats on this are pretty bad, but I mean, I think the main reason you would play this is because of like being able to reuse like an ETB on your guy, or to put it down as a C. You'll just play if you can actually like get value from like the exiling. Either it triggers one of your leaves play without dying, or it lets you happy. But yeah, 5 mana 3/3 bad. Oh, day because 3/3 flat, yeah. Spellgeyer, 2 generic and 2 blue instant. Choose 1 target, counter target spell, surveil 2, and then draw 2 cards. Thinking, let's see, you enter the villain's lair, or whatever that card was. You find the villain's lair. I mean, this was obviously different because like cost 3 and there's like draw 2, discard 2, but I don't know. I guess it's like it plays well, I guess, in like the Flash archetype, but I had it as a D plus just because like 4 mana feels like a lot, like to leave up just for like the counter mode. But again, I guess you can just leave it up and they don't play anything. You could surveil 2 and draw 2. I think it's really expensive. Splash Lasher, 3 generic in the blue. Creature Frog Wizard Offspring, 1 generic in the blue. This creature enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. It's a 3. That is a C. I mean, it's like cross links, and then if you offspring it, it's Frost Breath, a 3/3 and a 1/1. Flash Portal, blue, sorcery, exile target creature you controlled and return to the battlefield as its owner's control. That creature is a bird, frog, or a rat, draw a card. So basically, if it's like a blue creature for the most part, I mean, yeah, there's some. I mean, this covers all the creatures in blue, white birds, and frogs, and red otters, and black rats. So that makes it a little bit more flexible. But I don't know. It's sorcery speed also, which it doesn't let you like abuse it. So I put it down as a C minus. But I guess if you actually are exiling like a bird, frog, or a rat that has like a good ETB, then you're happy about it. But still, I don't know. You can't. So you can't even like save a creature from like an enchantment removal in the set because banishing light exiles the creature, and the sugar coat turns it into an artifact, no longer a creature. Right, Storm Chaser's talent, blue, enchantment class. When Storm Chaser's talent enters, create a 1/1 blue and red other creature token with prowess, and then 3 in the blue level 2. When this cloud becomes level 2, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to hand, and then 5 generic blue level 3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue and red prowess. I'll put it down as a C, but I don't know. It's basically like, I think you look at it as like a 1/1 prowess creature early on, and then you can, you know, turn it into Archaeomancer to get your instant or sorcery back, and then if you want to spend the 6 mana, it's just like that level 3 costing like 6 mana, and then you have to have like a bunch of instants and sorceries left or whatever. I guess I don't know. Like it just feels like it's like a lot of work or whatever to do the thing, but I don't know. Just gonna put it as C. Alright, Sugarcoat, that was the card I was talking about. Or turn the food. Get to turn it to a food or whatever. So Sugarcoat, 2 generic in the blue, enchantment aura flash. Enchant creature or food. Enchantment permanent is a colorless food artifact. You know, with and it loses all other card types and abilities. So the reason it says enchant creature or food, because if it didn't, the enchantment would fall off right away. But yeah, it has flash, which is cool. Like usually the issues of like these types of auras that still leaves your opponent like a game piece. Like it's the food is like relevant. Still, like it might enable like their forage or their life gain thing or whatever, but I mean it is like a blue way of dealing with like a permanent and removing the abilities, because like in like there's sets sometimes where like blue like only doesn't really like a resolve permanent very well. It's like, okay, you just bounce it back to their hand. Whatever. Yeah, put it down as a C. Thought Shucker. 1 generic in the blue, creature rat rogue, threshold, 1 generic in the blue. Put a 1/1 counter on Thought Shucker and draw a card. Activate only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, only once. So this is basically like Serral's Packmate at home. I mean, you're pretty unhappy if it's the 2 mana 1/3, but like if you're playing the rat deck, you should have, you know, enough ways to surveil and, you know, get the card off of it. And then I guess there's gonna be like some scenarios like you are you know, bouncing it back to your hand and replaying it and drawing the card, and you're like, oh, I paid 4 mana to draw the card or whatever after you bounce it back to your hand. But I mean, I put it as a C minus. Thunder Trap Trainer, 1 generic in the blue, creature auto wizard, offspring 4. When this creature enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in the 1/2. So I mean, it's already better than like Augurable. I guess it's like has a worse body than Augurable Loss. Right, Augurable Loss was like look at 3 cards and only get an instant or sorcery. Just look at 4 cards and get a non-creature, non-land. And if you pay the 6, you basically get like 2 non-creatures or non-land. I mean, that's you get to look at the 4 cards. I mean, you could definitely still whiff on this, but with a C plus. Valley Flood Caller, 2 generic in the blue, creature auto wizard flash. You may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, birds, frogs, otters, and rats you control get +1/+1 as an answer and untap them. It's a 2. So you made a 2/2 with flash, and like it also lets you cast so I guess non-creature spells that you could cast as though they have flash would be like, you know, sorceries, enchantments, and artifacts that don't have flash. Or I mean, sorceries wouldn't have flash; they would be instants. But like, I guess there might be like enchantments, artifacts Or planeswalkers, I guess. You could play your planeswalker with flash, though you wouldn't be able to activate it. But I put it as a B. I mean, I don't think it's like too hard to like make this. It's kind of like the Jeskai Ascendancy, if you think that, right? It's sort of like in a way. I mean, it only lets you buff your blue tribe or whatever, but it has some similarity. It feels like. Waterspout Warden, two generic and a blue creature frog soldier. Whenever Waterspout Warden attacks another creature enters the battlefield and you control this turn, Waterspout Warden gains flying until that turn. So again, this kind of works with like the whole frog theme, um, blinking creatures or returning to the hand playing, so that you can get more attacks of this. Um, put it as a C minus just because I don't know. I think the floor on it is really bad, but I guess early on this is probably gonna get like 6 damage. Theoretically, like if you go like Warden on 3, like a 4-drop creature, a 5-drop creature, and attack. I don't know. They don't have any flying, or there is also like a 2/4 reach at common and just block this, but cost 4 mana. Alright, and then Wishing Well, 3 generic and a blue artifact. Put a coin counter on Wishing Well. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the number of coin counters on Wishing Well from your graveyard while paying its mana cost. That spell would be when your graveyard exile instead, activate only this 3. What is a demon? I don't know. This just doesn't seem like what you would really want to be doing in limited. I don't know, maybe you have some dream deck where you have turbo surveil, like a bunch of instants and sorcery, or just like playing a bunch of instants sorcery. Then sure, it's like great there, but I think this is require like work that I don't really want to like try and do it. But anyways. Well, that was the end of the blue set review. Thanks everyone for watching. If you'd like to watch more Magic content, please check out my stream at twitch.tv/MercurioBlue. But I'll see you here next time for part 3 of the set review, where we'll talk about the black cards.